I'm going to show you guys a little diagram just talking about the Pisces house lords that I made. We can see that the Sun is the 6th house away from Pisces Lagna, and that the Sun rules the 6th house. So, what I like to do when we start these videos is talk a bit about what Parashara, the sage Parashara, has shared regarding the Sun's place in a Pisces chart. We can see that there are two, basically just the one quality that Parashara gives us regarding the Sun is that it's considered an evil house lord. However, we will note that Ryan has given Leo and the Sun the status of neutral in a Pisces chart. There are a few reasons for this, but the main one being something that he was given from Dr. David Frawley, which is that the Sun is like a Lagna unto itself. It's the Karaka of the first house, and so it tends to be treated like the first lord. And we need the Sun. The Sun is the central figure of the galaxy and of everybody's soul in everybody's chart. So when you're dealing with what Parashara gives as an inauspicious planet, being the Sun, and the Sun being so central to the figure of everyone's chart, we have to treat it as a necessary evil, as something that you have to do and you can't run away from, but you have to do in order to be vital, to live your self-realization, to unlock the spiritual capacities of your Sun, even if it is considered to be the evil 6th house lord of a chart. I've got notes here. That's where I'm reiterating a lot of this information from. What we like to say in terms of a necessary evil lord, we like to think of it like trying to take a bullet out of a bullet hole in your arm. It's painful. You have to use a sharp blade or whatever it is and stick it in there. And, oh, God, it just sucks to have to get it out. But it's better than just leaving it. It's better than letting it fester. You got to take it out and deal with it. And it will be painful, but it's better than not dealing with it at all. In the same way, the themes of the Sun may be painful to a Pisces in some ways, but it will be a necessary pain. A necessary evil, in a way. So, the good news is that Pisces' ruling lord, Jupiter, is actually good friends with the Sun. Jupiter relates with the high, noble, spiritual inspiration and internal focus and understanding of how the whole chart works. It's the small accomplishments that add up for a Pisces. For Pisces, even a position as a janitor has all the importance and profundity as befits a king. The strength of the Sun in the chart defines whether this humble nobility can make an ocean out of a dewdrop, like a spiritual internal ocean of satisfaction. Whether, you can find an ocean of fulfillment being a janitor or doing some mundane task. The position of the Sun will define whether you put yourself to larger tasks and can deal with what the world understands to be truly noble ideals and devotional activities. We often say in these videos that the trademark qualities of a sign are more than just what we understand the sign to be. Pisces is meek and finds bliss in the small things in life, not just because it's the 12th lord, but also because the Sun is the 6th lord for a Pisces. The Sun is the centrifugal figure in the chart. So 6th lord things, routine, details. With Pisces, we know they have a penchant for artistry, dexterity, skill, and dedication to the details in their craft. Pisces as the dedicated artisan comes from the 6th house lordship of the Sun. engages the Pisces when they do simple things like the details in their art, or their dedication to the details of their family, their group organizations that they're dedicated to. The little services they do, they put the full emphasis and integrity that a king would put into ruling a kingdom into these little things. And it can be just as important. Pisces knows this more than anybody. The expansiveness of Jupiter is what sees the ocean in that dewdrop. And this ennoblement strengthens and kindles the strength of the sun's friend, Jupiter, for a Pisces. Even though the sun is evil, as Parashara gives it, Jupiter's still one of the friends of Jupiter and of Pisces. So, I'm going to take a little peek at Ryan's notes that I took from his classes. Right over here. Through Ryan, I've noted that, yeah, this is a point. The sun in the 6th can either make Pisces ascendant dominant or aggressive, or it makes them easily dominated by authority figures, strong leonine figures, and noble figures, people bigger than them with greater resources and power. Pisces can either deals with them with like aggressive and even dominant tendencies to get back at their nobility and tries to deal with it at that level, or Pisces will be meek and will just accept that these people are in a position where they direct the Pisces to do what Pisces is supposed to do. It really depends on what's going on in Leo and with the sun to figure out what's the dynamic here, whether the Pisces will be meek or whether they'll be a little bit more willing to deal with this larger and noble activities with other people. But wherever the sun goes, it will carry out 6th house energy, showing obstacles to be overcome, daily routines to be put in place for greater vitality, steadiness of mind, greater commitment, etc. Pisces deals with these themes a lot. Pisces is considered to be hard to commit to things because of the malefic sun ruling the 6th house lordship. Pisces is hard to pin down. And if the sun creates obstacles to Pisces ascendant, they will be solar obstacles relating to one's capacity to be committed, one's capacity to do one's duty at every layer, and so on. If the person has trouble with the sun, then they're going to have trouble committing to staying steadfast and devoted to whatever task that they're given. If they have a strong sun, then they will be able to do all these little tasks with discernment and attention to detail, and it will be a part of the greater picture that Pisces has always tried to build for themselves. Pisces loves to be a cog in a machine, a bigger machine than itself. And with sun strength, they will be practical, useful, and reliable. Reliable is a good word for the sun as a 6th lord. Now, in these videos, we talk about the exaltation and debilitation points for each planet in a lagna. Consider that the sun is, for all charts, is exalted in Aries. It's because Aries thinks of the king, always does better thinking of what its own resources, its own self and identity has the capacity to realistically achieve through its own merit. In Aries, the sun learns what it can realistically do, and it is guided to have faith in what it can do. Because if it takes on tasks that relate to itself, the Aries, the head, that relate to its own nature, it's going to find positive reinforcement. The universe will guide it to say, keep doing that because whatever you're doing is coming from your spirit and it's working. Now, this exaltation point for a Pisces is in the 2nd house. A little bit tricky. The sun does great in Aries in particular, but the closer it gets to the 4th house cusp, the less capacity the sun has to really do ennobled things that everybody can congratulate the sun for. And that's what gives the sun its strength, is like being congratulated for doing a good job as a king unto itself. The sun does not do well. It does okay in Gemini by dignity, but it loses Digbala strength, directional strength, which means that the sun here will feel meek, and it'll do this thing where it says, I don't need to impress anybody. All I need to do is to just have my own fortitude, my own. It'll push in a Gemini way to have fortitude and emotional stability. And it'll push in a malefic way in its family. It'll push its own family to try hard to make it feel better. And the sun doesn't do good when it's trying to make itself feel better through its own emotional understanding and familiar paths. Gemini is like the familiar mental explorations that we go through and walk on. The sun does better in Sagittarius, where it learns through wisdom and through philosophy and through ethics and through history what other people have done and what other people consider the true ocean. So that the sun closer to Sagittarius can express, that can get this oceanic quality, even out of the little dewdrops that it does for the bigger picture of whatever organization Pisces is involved with. It's a bit frustrating because Aries is close to the 4th house. So the sun doesn't do well in Pisces because it's the 6th house lord is in the 1st house in Pisces. Even though Jupiter is a good friend to the sun by sign, the Pisces ascendant will identify a bit too much with this 6th house energy, and it'll burn the person out. Aries is probably the best place for the sun, for a Pisces. Virgo's not a bad place either. Leo itself, in its own house in the 6th house, will involve itself a lot. It'll identify deeply with this constant self-serving energy, but it's a good place for the sun because it's in its own house. The sun does really well in Scorpio, but Scorpio is close to the debilitation point. So it'll be addicted more so. That's the problem with having the sun in like Sagittarius and Scorpio for a Pisces rising, because even though it's close to the 10th house cusp, and it has strength because it's living for other people, it is enlivened by other people's impressions of how the work that it's done. It's still close to Libra. Sagittarius is like the best place for the sun in Pisces. But in Scorpio, it's close enough to Libra that the Pisces, is thinking from a merchant point of view, thinking of what others would like or how business works, rather than just letting go and allowing its own spiritual strength and capacity and qualities to come through. That's when the 6th house lord, when it's either in Sagittarius, in Cancer, it's not bad because it's the 5th house. Still not great because it's getting close to the 4th. Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. These are the places where the sun in this person is guided. The artistry, the 6th house lord, is inspired to gain its skill, and people congratulate them for it in a healthy way. It's kind of coming more from the inside of the person. And they can do things with their skills that other people congratulate them on, and it gets them farther the closer it is to the 10th. This is a frustrating thing for the Pisces, and it caters to the more frustrating nature of the sun for a Pisces because it's exalted in the 2nd house. When the sun is close to Libra, this 6th house energy is inclined to nag, to be critical, and to be criticized. And when the sun's energy, nagging is in the 2nd house, the Pisces sun energy can criticize itself. Pisces is not embarrassed to criticize itself, although again it's close to the 4th and there's frustration there. But the sun's energy for a Pisces doesn't want to feel like it's nagging. That's not its inspirational mode. But when it's close to Libra, Scorpio, when it's close to that area, it's nagging the group, because Pisces and because Scorpio and Libra are about a group and a thing that's building outside of oneself. It's good for the Pisces to criticize the critical parts of the group, but it's better to criticize its own contributions, and it will do that if the sun is in the second house. It'll be more inclined to make its own thing well and not peer too much into what other people are doing. When the sun is in Libra for a Pisces or for anybody, that's when the sun is nagging what other people are doing, especially with the sixth house energy, and it will get embarrassed. People will embarrass the Pisces and say, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and this is part of what frustrates the sun energy for a Pisces. I'm running out of time, so the last thing I'll say is that there's also something to be said by the fact that the sun's exaltation point, Aries, is in a Artha house. That's an earth house. It just goes to show that Pisces' best expression of its sun's inspiration and talent, it's expressed well when it's in an earth house. Because then the sun has the fortification of a job. The sun, the sixth house lord, is forced through these responsibilities to keep working. And it's these responsibilities that draw out the sixth house lord a little bit easier. So if you are a Pisces, consider that if you want to best express your sixth lord, the sun, and to commit to your tasks, try to use your job, your occupation, and to inspire yourself to do it for the job, for every little job that you do. Because that is the Aries being exalted in the second house. The sun does well when it is fortified by a structure and by a turning wheel and by little responsibilities. And when you can enjoy those and learn to enjoy those, your sun will come through with a little bit more integrity and tenacity. It'll be less difficult to deal with. So I'm Dustin Cormier. This is Asheville Vedic Astrology. Stay tuned, and we are going to go to the last video in the series talking about Pisces and Saturn.